What's up, guys? All right. Let's get it. Actually, give me like 30 seconds. Okay. Now we're ready. Here we go. Let's get into it. Okay, so we're coming back to these levels from NQ and Dow and ES. So yesterday, following up on yesterday's price action, we do have some interesting movement. So we're gonna dive into this. Let me get into the chat real quick. Get over here. Where is? Oh, that's fine. How are you guys doing? How are we feeling? How's everyone? How'd you guys? How's everyone's morning, evening, afternoon? I know we're plugging in from all over the world right now. Appreciate you guys also, liking, subscribing, just, pushing the channel, contributing to the community overall and their school community too. So much love to everybody here. All right, I got the chat now over here pulled up. Yeah, had definitely a later start today. Our dog is kind of, I think she has an injury, so we're kind of just figuring out what's going on there. But all right, cool. We got Luis. What's up, Luis? Harshi, Patrick, Jesus. What up, Seth? Hernan, ¿cómo estás? Todos están los de Latam. Póngame unos aquí. What up, Brandon, Joe, Marty, Gabriel, Sam? What's up, man? Lonnie, Corey, Trader Joe's, Edgar, Alfredo, Cesar. What's up, Pierre? Yeah, you've been grinding out the school. Tefi, ¿cómo estás? ¿Dónde estabas? What's up, Edgar, Lucio? In that peso setup we talked about yesterday. In the gold buy, shake-up mitigation, IS, I don't know which one. I break even currently. ¿Qué tal, Italia? All right, what's up, Kanzada? So, cool. Gonna go over a few things, some ideas here with indices, metals, oils, the works as usual. So let's go ahead and do that. But before I get started, where are we at? Here we go. Yeah, so before I kick things off, just wanted to say, just to remind you guys, what up, Austin? To remind you all that as you approach this trading session and every trading session, as much as we see the numbers, the P&L, remember at the end of the day, if you've been doing this, then you've already built out something that works for you. And you probably have already seen that mathematically it should be profitable. So focus on that. As much as the impulses, the desires to win today, to make money today, to make something back goes, just think about the big picture. Zoom out, okay? And then if you're newer, you don't have to put so many expectations on making money. Like, focus on giving yourself the grace to learn, to understand how different things function, and go from there, all right? So this is a skill like every other high performance, high income skill is. Like, this is about performance. It's not just about time. So act accordingly, all right? All right, let's dive in. So NQ, this is the same setup as yesterday. It's just that we didn't get anything yesterday. We have New York open here in about 4 minutes. So between Dow Jones, S&P, and NASDAQ, we're seeing the markets come back to this area where we had previously reversed from. So right around here and right around here. So we have both here lining up. They're pretty close. Like they're pretty close to one another. Pretty similar price action. I would say I think Dow's a bit closer to the zone, so I wonder what we end up taking over here. And then inside of this massive area, right, where does the trade actually happen? So where am I looking to take some positions? There's some key levels. I have one that I'm interested here where we've seen support before. So right around here is one. And same thing, it's the main thing that I guess brings it all together is the fact that we've already seen reversals from this place once. And then the other is here where we've seen a lot of support again. So these are kind of the two main areas where I guess you can call this the range in which I would take positions on NASDAQ. So right around here. And then if we pull into Dow Jones here, YM, we've had levels of support right around 45,670, and then from there, I mean, it's not, everything else kind of dipped lower. So this is kind of the area that I'm interested in, which is right over here. Like all of this is where we rejected in the past. So it seems like a pretty good zone for the present. So this is really, if we wanted to refine the zones, and you can do the exact same thing with S&P, we could do that. So let's do that. And right now it's pretty simple. The mindset, the framing is just cool. Now you do nothing and you just wait. However, it is a little bit more interesting than just that, because we also have this over here. So we might have sells go down first. Maybe they go down after. I don't know. But we don't need to know. Because now if you were trading during Asian session, maybe you took a swing at this. We talked about this yesterday where the market had a huge pump up before everything dropped. We wanted to see it clear liquidity before any sort of reversals. And then Dow played right into the peak of this before giving us a reversal. So Dow Jones did the classic liquidity sweep. It took out New York highs and then made a run downward. So we saw the shift in momentum. Things start to slip down from here. So we definitely see money come in for the market to reverse at some point. And we've also established a downtrend here for long enough. We saw Asian session settle in below these levels, London session settle in before these levels, and it's also starting to create more demand, more confirmation that it's below these other levels as well. Same thing goes with NASDAQ. During Asian session, you see the uptick in momentum. Plays right into this order block. Sweeping New York session liquidity. So I just didn't look at the markets at all last night. I didn't check in or anything. But I could definitely understand if some of you wanted to take something off the order block. Not my typical setup, but I get it. In combination with sweeping liquidity from the session and playing off an order block where the market basically, like after this pump up, it just bleeded out. So there's a clear exchange of money here. So yeah, that's where we're at right now. So seeing reversals out of here could definitely make sense. Don't know which one of these is going to be. And same thing, you always can include S&P into the mix here. Usually S&P is kind of just splitting the difference between Dow and NASDAQ. So somewhere in the middle usually. It's never the lagging, or it's very, very rarely. Okay, so I see a lot of you are saying you're long on oil. Okay. Cool. I had a setup here that thankfully I was asleep for, so I wasn't even able to take it. But I was looking for buys here with oil yesterday, and then market came in and just kept playing below this. So, luckily for me, I didn't take an L here. The long from last week, though, it did a nice little move, about 166 pip move to the upside before reversals. We squeezed again, came right back down the market without breaking these highs. So we saw the reversal immediately, pulled right back in before ripping again. So I didn't take anything here. I just didn't look at this or anything like that prior to it. As quickly as we came back down, we came back up. So I do understand if this is more of a shakeout setup on this one. As you see here, quick push down, didn't hold up enough, came right back up. We start to understand that price has more demand, so there's literally more money is willing to pay at these prices. There's not enough sells willing to interact at this level. So, we see this last push down before everything runs. Honestly, I actually expected this to go. I would have thought this would have gone lower. So I'm curious to see if this is going to maintain or not. Maybe we get a different entry in this zone later. We'll see what sticks here. So with New York Open already underway, we're not seeing anything too crazy yet. Pretty slow start. And we'll wait and see. Always good to hear your perspective. Appreciate that. Good morning. It hit my higher time frame POI, then created this perfect reverse head and shoulders. Cool. I had a buy zone on my oil chart, like 57 and lower. Not sure if this is valid or not because it's already hit it and bounced. I typically don't interact when it's already done that. Like we already saw the exchange of money. So the level, this type of reversal, since we already got it once, I would need a different setup to take it. That's kind of my approach. So that's just me. However, whatever works. At this point, I probably wouldn't approach this unless we got all the way down, like below this low now. Or if we just get a completely new setup, which it kind of looks like we're getting here. To really get like a swing trade, I would love to see a break above these highs, a 15-minute time frame shift. So if we were to get up to here, and then we can create some bullish demand, then I'm down for some sort of buys, depending on what the market left behind. But then we could see, a pretty big continuation. But once we get this 15-minute, because everything else has been bearish, you get something like this, you start to get more proof that the market is willing to turn around. So that's what I got. Okay. With that being said, we're starting to see a bit of momentum come in now with indices. NASDAQ working its way down. Dow also pushing down slightly less intensely. So let's see how this comes together. And then metals. So we had, and also one thing here really quick, because I know it's pretty relevant. Bitcoin is also pushing its way all the way down to these areas. It's setting up really well. And this is kind of what I was talking about yesterday, where I wanted to see if the market was going to create some demand and then make another push. I feel like it should clear these lows, and then reversals from there would be probable. And that could line up if you wanted to take a swing at, re-entering some altcoins, etc. Peso had a really good reversal out of this low. It played a lot lower than I had originally just set it up for, but it did maintain this low, and then now it's rallying. So at this moment, if you took this peso buy, which we had talked about yesterday, sorry it took me so long to get to it now, but if you did take this, you are approaching a 1-to-1. So you're sitting at like a 0.75 R, 0.69 R at the moment. And then I do think we can push this a bit further out towards a 2R. So 2R would be the move here for me. All right. So that drop. At this point, we've already mitigated, so I would be moving stops to either this low, honestly probably to this low, if you think this has a shot at continuing, which I guess this order block is going to be a big tell. So go from there, really. And then you have all this imbalance to go fill out. So let's see. So peso, anyone in peso right now? Let me know. Okay, so we're starting to see very similar price action between Dow and NQ. Doesn't really seem to be a big difference. Like, these are both moving very, very similarly. So I wonder, same thing with, actually between all of them, it does look like S&P is actually holding up pretty well. So this might be a rare S&P trade for me. And then really the areas for reversals in the past are like this zone right over here. We've seen support plenty of times at the up here. Obviously, this was a sweep of liquidity, and then it ran. And then the market, really after that, doesn't really do much. Some resistance here in the past as well, but overall, this looks like where we could get a nice little switch up. So here are the three areas. Here's S&P. Here's Dow. And then you have NASDAQ. All basically the same. Might be one of those days. As of right now, S&P does look like it's kind of holding up here. Still trading above this last push down, whereas Dow went lower. And then Q has gone lower. So we'll see. Ahorita estoy básicamente, so let me do a quick translation. Básicamente estoy ahorita tomando en cuenta los tres índices, Dow, S&P 500 y Nasdaq. Los tres se ven muy similar. Lo que quiero ver es cuál de todas estas opciones básicamente van a caer con menos intensidad. Entonces, si vemos Dow bajando y bajando y bajando, y digamos S&P 500 o Nasdaq viene bajando con menos fuerza, ese es el que tomaría, porque la probabilidad de que se mantenga ahí está mejor. Entonces compraría uno de esos. Como se ve ahora mismo, no sé cuál va a ser. Igual lo mismo con la venta. Esperaría el que llega a esta zona de último es el que entraría en ventas. Now, majors had similar setups to peso, and it's the same principle. Like, the one that played out was peso. We had that push down, and then the continuation. If you look at the only one that stayed within the structure was peso. Australian here, it got to this zone way faster than the rest of them, so that disqualifies AU. For the pound, it got to this area as well before everything else. And it wasn't until the Mexican peso, which we're getting now, this one got to the zone last. So we get here, it actually breaks into this around 2:30 a.m. Central Time, so about 30 minutes after London Open, and then it does continue to go further down, but this is the one that is slowest to get to this area. Now, we'll add, now that the market's been pushing since for the last 3 hours, if you take a look at this, the pound is pushing up with a lot of aggression here. So we came in with a ton of momentum, and we are starting to trade above this high and possibly looking like we will stay up here. If that's going to be the case, then this is where this pound buy could make sense. Now we're seeing a shift in structure here. So if we go sideways, we could definitely see a reversal out of this. You had liquidity building up here and down here. So this was a liquidity sweep during London for everything to then turn right back around. So I want to see price stay up here. If the market ends up working its way back down way later today, maybe during London, perfect. Then we can have a scenario where, let's say, the buys, I would look for buys around here. And then at least like one of the easiest things you could have is a fill of this imbalance conservatively, where we have support and imbalance. That still gives a, what is this? A 5R? If you let it ride into the next level of support and imbalance, 6R, and then all the way up to here, you're looking at a 7.27R. So if you wanted to play it high probability, still a 5R is pretty solid. Okay. Meanwhile, pulling back over here, indices. Let's get through this. Looks like Dow, ES are about to hit that zone. All right, YM gets there first, S&P gets there second, and then NQ slightly slower than the rest of the pack. All right, so this is, to me, I'm going to wait for my entry then with NASDAQ, and I'm going to buy around here. This is a huge stop, like massive, 170 points, because of the absolute extreme volatility from Friday. And I'm going to ride this out. I mean, I think we can clear liquidity. And then here we have some key levels of support during London. So playing it right around here, conservative, extremely conservative, but 2.3R, can't be mad about it. The other exit that I like is trading all the way up to here, which then goes into a 3.33R. But this right here plays into support, clears out liquidity. Sometimes all you have is a liquidity sweep, and then the market turns right back around. That's why trading into liquidity or even like trading to liquidity, so not even that it goes past it, can play out really nicely. This is just a combination of it sweeping partial liquidity and then playing into previous levels of support. So NQ, I want to see this drop just a little bit more before taking a swing at this. All right. All right, now we have NQ in the zone. Okay, let's see. So Dow just dropped into where it had seen support in the past. Of course, indices could reverse without going lower. Always a possibility. NQ just got to the open. If the market does reverse aggressively, so let's say we see this thing, this thing drops 263.25 points. So if we were to see this thing just rip from here, then that would be it. There's nothing I can do. It would just be the trade happened and it is what it is. But I'm just going to keep waiting really more than anything. No pullback here, no entry. Pretty straightforward. Okay, now to create some awareness for this week with high impact news. Today we do have Powell speaking in about 2.5 hours. So be ready for that. We get a little red folder news. Good stuff there. Tomorrow, no high impact dollar news. We do have this Empire State Manufacturing Index, but orange folder, typically not a crazy move. Thursday, tentative, right? We still have PPI. I'll have to just double check and see if that's something we're going to get in real time, or if we're just going to randomly get that later on. If it's just like CPI, I'm sure we'll just see that later. And then nothing going on Friday. So for my high impact news people that are always on it, y'all can give me your thoughts there as well. Okay, let's see here. So chat, y'all chilling, huh? Y'all just sitting on your hands? Okay. All right, guys. Yeah. So at this point, what we can do is I'll quickly run through a couple other scenarios while we're waiting to see if we're going to get another drop back down to here. If this plays off the open, it's going to be one of those annoying setups that is just weren't worth it to me. Like trading all the way down up here. That's a 270 point stop. There's just no chance. There's no reason for me to do that. We get better setups, So across the board, chilling on any other setups with the majors. We had that yen short that I was looking for. That did reverse out of the zone. I will add, the push to the upside was pretty huge. And the drop, we basically mitigated off by a pip or two, but I'd call it. However, when it dipped into the zone, the retracement wasn't deep enough for me to have a risk reward that would be worth it. So yeah, another no trade for me. And then during Asian session, we do see the sweep of the low before the market rallies like we just have seen. So I would consider buy scenarios here with the yen. However, as always, I do keep in consideration what the rest of the market is doing. So I want to see how things continue. If we keep trading bullish, then yeah, maybe later on we can look for a buy here. Metals played into this drop from London here. Really not forcing anything with gold. I think if I want to take gold buys, I kind of want to play at the extremes on the 15 rather than trading, kind of still in this area. I think people are now people have been calling this more of a premium. So especially when you have a 15-minute zone, like a whole range, and you kind of can see some key levels, like the gap down here, how the week started, and then the last push down here before everything rallied. There's definitely incentive for reversals at lower levels within the structure. So that's kind of the beautiful thing about using Fibonacci. It's just, it helps you understand where you're at in the overall range. And typically, and every once in a while, you're not going to get a full retracement below 50%, 618, 78, 886. Yeah, every once in a while, you're going to get the market to typically liquidate support, and then it's not enough demand, so it kind of trades back above the 38.6, and it gives us a reaccumulation. Excuse me. So, yeah, definitely we could see something like that. If this were to happen, sure, but we don't have it yet. Meanwhile, silver working its way further down now. We have this entries level over here. I like this better when silver was dropping second, like it was less aggressive in its drop. But as you can see right now, you have gold trading right around the 23.6, whereas you see silver pulling back so much more. So silver's retracement in this structure already is around hovering over the 50%. So keeping my options open. What we can also identify, though, is the fact that silver did leave this behind. So we did see a nice push to the upside before everything dropped. Right over here. So would I short that? Would just depend on what's happening with gold as well. So we will wait and see, my friends. We will wait and see. Okay. So oil, after breaking through these highs, sweeping liquidity, has worked its way back down. Indices right now are they're bouncing. They got their first initial bounce after New York Open. So that's what it's doing right now. I'm not chasing this. I'm not taking any entries. This could still drop back down. So kind of no reason for me to pull anything here. When would I no longer look for buys down here? Remember, the drop that we saw here was about 260, I think I said, basically 263 points. So if this keeps pushing and we get up to this area, then okay. Yeah, no more trade. But if this fills some of this imbalance and then we get another drop from here, then yeah, I'm down. So this is a possibility, or it just clears it and then there's nothing to do. No trade for me. Whatever, just live to trade another day. So that kind of brings it all back together. Peso came back to rebalance. So as that should have been expected. From here, it's a question of, is that going to sustain or go? So if you did take this, then as I encouraged, moving stop, reducing risk, that would have cut your risk basically in half. Now that the market is bouncing really well out of this imbalance, typically when I see the market push down and right back up, which is the perfect imbalance fill right here, at this point I move my stops to break even. Because if it comes back down again, it filled the imbalance. So like, what is going to give this a reversal? So I would have risk off the table at this point. I will say, if you want your Hail Mary crypto, all I'm gonna say is this. I went over odd USD already. I don't know if you I know you shortly went over it. It's all I needed to go over. There wasn't much more to add to it. I didn't need, like, there's nothing more I really need to give it. The reason this one didn't reverse the way that you would have wanted it to is because other majors still could push further down. So Australian pushing into the zone, like, it got here, but the dollar doesn't act. It's not just trading against Australian. It's the dollar trading against everything. So there was more motive for price to keep going down, since the peso still needed to rebalance as well. But like I was saying, you should buy, dog. Like, all I'm gonna say is in the couple months, you know, we're gonna be laughing. Looks pretty good to me. I'll give you perspective. If this just comes back to where it was in July, 155% growth. If it breaks the previous high, that's it, just the previous one, you're seeing over 220%. And from where we're at right now, 50x, in my opinion, is not even, like, is very plausible considering the market cap. Conviction pays. Absolutely. Where can dog be purchased? Kraken is probably the easiest place to remember to where you could get it. Obviously, that's on a centralized exchange, or Xverse is another place. But you guys can just go to CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap, research it, see what other things are available. Depends on what country you're from, etc. All those things make a difference. I will add, guys, this indices play might have happened without us. Dow played out of the zone beautifully. Dow's drop was 349 points, 350 points. So far, it's already pushed about 260. So that's a pretty big move. Not quite the mitigation, in my opinion, yet, but it's pretty close. And then S&P also doing its job rejecting. Right now, this is pretty typical. Like, as soon as it starts to go in one direction, you know, people tend to chase it. I have no plan to get in right now, so I'm going to hold off on that. Yep. Awesome. As I talked about yesterday as well with Bitcoin dominance, I said how we could come back up into this range. So after we exploded on Friday and then immediately tanked and came back down, we saw the dominance stay here throughout Sunday, Monday, and really it wasn't until Asian session where we started to see this pick back up. So again, like I mentioned, I wouldn't be surprised if we play into this imbalance a little bit and then just melt from here. So if you like major caps, ETH, Sol, XRP, you're getting fantastic opportunities right now. Some of these AI coins, meme coins, like, take your pick. Whatever you're into, this is your chance. Some of these holding up better than others. Chainlink under 20 is pretty nice, honestly. This one can definitely run big time. You got ETH under 4K. For all my XRP people. And these are holding up nicely, trading right into these imbalances right now. So just something to keep in mind. All right, let's pull up some stocks while we wait. Let me go check in on indices again. All right, we're cool. Weeble, man. Weeble not trying to push up. We're not getting the bounce quickly. So just going to have to sit in some drawdown for a little bit. I'm not too concerned on that. Snapchat back at still good prices, in my opinion. Same thing goes with UPS taking this out and coming right back up. If you wanted to wait for another small time frame break, if you just prefer that, then go ahead. See what else we got. So interesting, last week we saw Amazon tank, as all the indices, which, a whole bunch of stocks start crashing. Amazon did that, and then it gapped up from support, but today it actually went below Friday's low. So Amazon playing into these lows, sweeping out liquidity, and then it's getting eaten up pretty fast. So Amazon might go on a nice rally. For those of you that like stocks, the biggest ones that I don't do anything with these. It's just so little movement and not really worth it for me. But yeah, I'd be chilling. I'm not really looking for anything here. Just bringing it up. I wouldn't be surprised though if we get a nice push from here though with Amazon. Chewy chopping up. Facebook, similar process, shakeout setup here. I don't even know why I follow Peloton anymore. I'm not in this. Boeing, I want to see Boeing just melt again. Give us something here from April. I'm sure that there's every year since COVID, it's like there comes a time where Boeing just gets negative narrative, and then it tanks. And then you just buy it, and then everyone forgets, and then it goes up again. It just loves to do that. All right, Tesla with some dips. Distribution looks like it's setting up here for Tesla. Probably see a nice pullback here. I'm not one to short. I don't at this point, I'm not super active on options. So no puts for me anywhere. Depending on how Intel sets up here, we might get a distribution. So if it does, we'll see. We'll see what this looks like here. All right, Robinhood likely to fill in balance over here at least to 130. I don't know if you guys have been picking this up. I brought up Robinhood earlier this year, but not early enough. So entries around here at right around 100, which is great. But, man, look at this thing. Robinhood was just a pickup during. So you know what's funny? And I'll say this is the one that I got wrong. When Dumb Money came out, the movie about the GameStop, just like the whole narrative around GameStop and how everything went through, and it was about, I would say, market interference, market orchestration, exchanges, the psychology of retail money, and institutional money, etc. I got this wrong, and it's because I'm naive in that moment. And I'm okay to say that. This thing basically squeezed for 2 years plus. Now, my mindset was, and, it got a lot of heat because they would just close the opportunity for people to be able to buy their assets. Like, they were literally interfering. So, the moral of that story, unfortunately, was it wasn't a GameStop revival that the movie gave us. the movie created a negative narrative around Robinhood because they were being bad guys. They were robbing the hood. But instead, it just suppressed price long enough for this thing to squeeze and then provide a 10x, actually 13, 14x. So and obviously it's a really popular app. People use it all the time. The reason I said it was naive is because it was a perfect way to accumulate while people wanted to keep shorting and not being involved with this because of it just, manipulation. And I'm not mad that I didn't get involved in this because it sucks to see. I mean, you kind of can't, unfortunately, at least with the powers that I have right now, I can't just go here and pick a war with whatever companies I want and get into it would be great if I had, a few billions to work with so we can have a little hedge fund battle or something. But it's like that movie was like, okay, cool. There's going to be a GameStop narrative, like things are going to pick up, and they kind of did. But in reality, what it was it just set up for Robinhood to be able to blow up. Not that was like the catalyst, but it just goes to show that it doesn't matter how illegal you are, like what you do. If the right money is backing it and the right narrative is made, it's gonna run. So that's all that can be said. It does look like this was mitigation. Dow gave us the perfect entry. I waited for the one that was lagging, which would have been NASDAQ. I don't like a stop this massive, so I'm not in this. And honestly, it's not a big deal because we might have another opportunity. So it looks like Dow is trying to break above this previous high over here. If we break above and we just stay trading up here, then we can have an entry. We could have a nice little play somewhere over here. So that's a possibility. Now we just wait. But anyways, so a little frustrating with this one, just because like I saw the idea. We're trading below the IPO, and not just below. We were trading 80% below the IPO. It's a huge app, so and I guess that's the cool thing about investing. You can choose what you don't get involved in, whether it's because of your values, morals, or whatever. And that's just a choice, I guess. I guess I chose to be poor instead of just buying this thing, which I knew had a good chance of going up. But it is what it is, folks. And it's a conscious choice that you have to be willing to make. It's like buying, what's it called? Pfizer, like, dude, like, you know how much you have to really just not give a shit to buy Pfizer? Like, there's just so many ways to make money, and like Pfizer, really? And this thing ripped too. This thing was struggling so much just in like, was it April? And then it bounced back. But yeah, I think I'm going to get into options just so I can short like this or short like Target. Someone asked me about buying Target like a couple weeks ago, and I definitely spazzed. But I think it was long, poor long. But yeah, I have no desire to ever buy these. Like, again, Target is one of those that this will probably do well. This will probably recover all of this, go out and make 50%, maybe more. Honestly, probably 150. But if anything, I would want to short this upwards of 200. Once it reaches kind of like probably like 225, 230. Yeah, it'd be interesting in shorting it if it gets up there. But I mean, I seriously doubt Target is going to stay this low for much longer. But not one that I'm going to buy. Is that stubborn? Maybe. Definitely. But it's just George Soros is just I don't even know if he's human. Dude's a little reptile running around, scamming everybody, causing a whole bunch of ruckus. So anyways, yeah, I guess the pros and cons of stocks. At least with crypto, basically most of it is is just a Ponzi. They're not pretending. Airbnb, look at it's just top the zone and just nice little bounce. Anyone add on to their Airbnb? It makes me hesitate to buy stocks. What makes you hesitate to buy stocks? What's your opinion on trading stocks when there are much better crypto setups like Dog? Yeah, Zcash went crazy. It's not. I wouldn't say that Dog's a better setup overall. It's got a higher upside for sure, but it's got risk as well. You're buying into a narrative. You're buying into Bitcoin in a way, right? You're buying into the meme coin space, so it's just choosing a different type of narrative. It's diversifying your risk, if you will. Stocks, it's like, okay, the way to look at it is like this: like you have just different avenues towards whatever you want. I'll give you guys an example. Like the way to produce not income, but the way to, I guess, grow your net worth or your portfolio doesn't have to be a one-way street. So, for example, all right, let's see. Does growing your portfolio have to be one-dimensional? No. And why not is the question, right? So why wouldn't it? No. Now, I'll give you a couple of different perspectives. So, for example, and obviously your income makes a big difference. It's so important. How much money you have available to invest makes a massive difference. That is a sign of mitigation right there. So that means that Dow has officially mitigated. NASDAQ's not too far behind. Cool. So one of two things: Dow might give us an entry later on for a buy, and then it looks like it will be up here first. So NQ might be the short for the day as well. Okay, but what I'm saying here is you don't just have to be a degen crypto trader. You don't just have to be a blue chip crypto investor. You don't just have to be a conservative investor. You don't just have to be a high risk investor. You can open up different lanes for yourself. So, for example, I have a few things set up for myself in which essentially create different avenues to have, several pots where, you're getting into 7 figures, multiple 7 figures, 8 figures plus, where you can be there in, it's not going to happen overnight, but you can be there in a decade, 20 years, and it just depends on how you want to approach it. But here, I'll show you guys something here. So let me pull this up, and I'll kind of walk you through some scenarios. So let me find this here. All right. Where is this? Okay, so for example, I'll walk you guys through this, something I've done. Here's the plan, and then you guys can look at it. this is something that I've implemented in different avenues. So let's see here. All right, I got to switch this screen that I'm sharing. Notion. Is it this one? Okay, so check this out. All right, how do I zoom here? File. Can I zoom? View, zoom in. It's fine. It's whatever. I'll zoom in a little more. Okay. So, for example, if you wanted to just have a sense of like different strategy. So, and this is one thing I've run for just different examples for different people for different reasons. But okay. Let's say you're in your late 20s, early 30s, and you wanted to have at least $1 million in an account. Okay. This one is basically one of the, I don't know, probably one of the simplest ways that you can do this. This you could kind of say like, oh, this is the equivalent of buying just like index funds, just throwing money into the S&P and you personally calculate it a little bit more. Okay, so if you start at 1,500, you contribute 1,200, and then that does 11% year over year. In 21 years, you're cracking $1 million. Okay, 11% is a little higher than what the S&P would do every year, but this is, I would say, Bitcoin's going to do this, no doubt about it. Cool. Over the course of 21 years. Here's that. Very simple. That's one plan. That's you contributing $1,200. Does that have to be your only plan? No. This is just a plan. So this is lane number one in which that can happen. Okay. Well, let's say you're a bit more skilled, very skilled. You start with 2,500. You contribute 1,000, and you're earning 40% a year. These are big numbers. This is like elite level, and to do this for 30 years straight, very unlikely. But cool, put your skills to the test. Do that. All right, you got $1 billion by 60. This is a 31-year plan. This is the most ambitious, audacious plan, but of course, that's a plan that I'm going to run. It wouldn't be myself if I'm not doing something absolutely ridiculous. So there's that one. Now, from here, right, this is one lane. Now, if you miss by a whole bunch, you're still killing it. Again, this isn't massive contributions if you start earning some decent income. Now, okay, what if you wanted $1 million by 35? All right, well, here's a 6-year plan. You start with 2,500. You're contributing $1,100 a month, but your yearly growth is about 100%. You really got to be on top of it with this. Like really on. This is like elite performance for the next 6 years. You're taking bigger risks as well, more than likely. This is your probably working with a bit more of lower market cap stuff. You're probably risking a little bit heavier on your trade, but this is a lane. This is not the one that you would, this is not your retirement plan. This is I'm banking on my skills on every single element, and I'm basically just flawless for 6 years. But cool, there is a lane. From there, right, let's say you have a funded plan. So how you want to scale, what you can contribute, what risk you're setting your accounts up, how much you're making on these accounts year over year, and how you're growing. So like what you invest into it, what you can pull out of it, all of this is very much a reality. And then you have, let's say like life insurance, right? So like, for example, I have an IUL, and in here, you run over the different kind of, that I'm not going to get into rabbit hole. I'm not, qualified to do and go into all of the details of that. But anyways, this is one way for you to for sure have a pile of money, a couple $100,000 in, 20, 40, 30 years, whatever it is for you. So my whole point of this is not that you have to do anything like what I'm saying. It's just that there are different things that you can actively be doing that are, for the most part, a lot of it could be running on autopilot, or it's more passive overall. So you could have things that you're investing into that are dollar cost averaging in. For example, like one of my plans is I just buy Bitcoin every single day. I'm just accumulating Bitcoin. That's it. It's just a dollar cost average. And my thesis is that if I do that for the next 10, 20 years, I'm going to be up significantly. Cool. That's one lane. That's one thing that, as long as I don't turn off the automated button, there's no way. Well, okay, there is a way. There's always a way, right? There's always risk. But it's a pretty good chance that there's going to be a nice basket there. And that's one option. Then you have your trading accounts. Then you have your stocks portfolio. And even in your stocks portfolio, you might have some that you're just doing, chilling with. You're picking your spots, no high risk. You just invest when you can. You have a budget for it. But all of this only becomes a reality once you understand what you can work with, what you have available to you, what your long-term vision is, and then you just keep scaling your income as well. Because at the end of the day, like, as much as everyone's going to hate what I'm going to say, like, however much you make is 100% a reflection of what you choose to be worth. So it's just what you decide. That's it. That's all it is. There are all the resources available to grow that. Oh, you don't make enough money at your job? Get a new fucking job. Okay. Start using your head. Create an idea. Build around it. It may take you weeks, months, years, but do it. Like, that's it. I mean, there's nothing really to say. Like, that's it. You decide. So, you're like, if you do the numbers right now, and this is why I think I love numbers, is that, and just aware, like, ownership. If you're like, okay, realistically, I need, I don't know, $3 million so that I can live a just chill life. Maybe, you don't want a lot of things. Maybe you want to just hang out with your family, a nice home. Cool. And passively, you only need this much, so you can just spend all that time and just do whatever hobbies you want. Okay. If that's the number, let's say it's 3 million, and we'll run another variable here. And I'm only showing you guys this just so you have, like, just so you know for sure, like, you just can't run away from from reality. That's really the point of when I do things like this. And it's good for you, it's good for me. So if you know, okay, well, right now I can only start with, let's say, $1,000 in my portfolio. It's not even about trading. This is just portfolio. Want to invest in stocks, crypto, have your own mix of both, whatever. Okay, let's say I can max only put into my account $500 a month. And let's say you're 25 years old and you want to be retired by 50. Now, I know everyone's like, fuck that. I want to be retired in 5 years, 10 years, whatever. Cool. We can run those numbers too. But then you're going to have to realize, like, oh, wow, I have a lot of work to do. So 25 years, let's say that. We're going to go conservative. And let's say, I'm going to say 20% right here. And this is my prediction on what minimum just buying Bitcoin basically can give you over the course of the next 20, 25 years. An average of 20% growth. And I think I'm severely underestimating that, but that's just what I'm going to put there. So what does this turn into? Oh, wow. That turns into 3 million. I actually didn't think that was going to happen. But this is you betting on the fact that you're going to get 20% every year for 25 years straight. How likely is that? I don't know. But would I want to count on that? Would I want to count on this happening? I wouldn't. So, okay, what if this is 10%? What if you're just following, like, you can do the same thing, or index funds, whatever. But what does this number look like? It's 600,000. So the difference between 10% every year and 20 is $2.4 million. So we have a very massive range here. So if all you can put in is $500 every month, then you need to change something. And that's if you want to, let's say, have this available to you in 25 years. What if you're like, nah, like I'm more ambitious. I want to get this done in 10 years. Well, in 10 years, you're not even going to have $100,000 at this pace. Not even 100. So what do you need to do? If you know for sure that you can't get your expenses down even more than you have it, if you know for sure that you can't make more where you're at right now, then you need to change the variables. And of course, your skill can change the variable at the interest that you're growing in, but that can only do so much. So what do you have to do? You have to find a way to create more for yourself. Whether it's you keep working on your skill, you start getting payouts, you're able to turn your skill into another income producing. Like I know what a lot of people here are doing. You have the main thing, you have your current income, you're working on the skill so that you can keep evolving and start to get those payouts, start to get those withdrawals, and that can become a supplementary income, if not eventually like the income that covers everything you need it to. At the same time, what are you doing right now to do that? How long is it going to take? Are you going to keep guessing, jumping around, doing a whole bunch of random things, or are you going to dial in? So right now, take a good look at what reality is based off the numbers. Do I need to change something? Right? Do I need to change something so that I can get my weekly, monthly cash flow starts to go higher? So am I settling with whatever I have right now, or can I go for something more? I'm not saying quit your jobs and have no plan. I'm saying if you have value, if you have skills, go find someone that'll pay you more. Great. If you have skills that give you access to doing things on your own, nurture that as well. And then turn this into a machine. Like turn this skill, like get it down. Or think about it this way. If I don't become disciplined, if I don't stop making all of these unnecessary mistakes, following in, just breaking and just listening to my ego, listening to my pride, then I'm just going to stay the same. I'm not going to get what I actually want out of my life. So make the decisions. It's up to you. If right now you don't really have a progression path with your trading, follow it. We have it, even in the free community, we have literally a step-by-step process. If you want more hands-on help, obviously you guys know you can go and join the syndicate program. But even then, like you need to make sure that you're becoming well-rounded on all levels, financially, spiritually, emotionally, physically. That all comes together. So, but what ties everything all together here is just knowing is what I'm doing right now actually going to take me there? If not, then you need to make changes. If you don't, like you can't get it. It won't work. It won't. And this is the issue with consistency, is that consistency only works. So assuming that you have it, but even if you do, it only works if you're working on the right things. if you have a feedback loop that's pushing you towards the right direction. Because you can keep practicing, you can keep doing the same things, but it doesn't mean it's going to take you further. You can keep working the same job, you can keep making income in the same ways, but if that is just not enough, then it's not going to take you to where you want it to. You can keep practicing your trading, but if all you keep looking for is a different strategy, a different indicator, a different approach, someone else to tell you what to do, it's not going to work. You got to learn how to do it yourself. You got to understand, okay, is it my TA or is it that I just don't even listen to my own plan? So we need to just get it down, guys. Like, just be real with yourself. Rip the fucking Band-Aid, all right? So if y'all ready to rip the Band-Aid, then I'm just going to leave this here. The rest is on you. Drop the link in there if y'all want to really get it together with your trading. Other than that, my suggestion is push yourself. Get uncomfortable. Go find another way. All right? Go find another way. Like, chances are you can get paid probably doing the same thing you're doing. You just got to look for it somewhere else. Now, to wrap up the session, I like our chances at a buy with Dow. We have officially mitigated, so that we had the right idea, or I had the right idea. I just didn't have it just didn't meet my risk reward qualifications, so it wasn't a trade I was going to take. Same thing here with NQ. NQ already did its thing. I'm just confirming that you guys can see this. Yes, you can. So, yeah, everything is all said and done here. And then now the new ideas. At the moment, I'm leaning more towards Dow for a buy. Looks like we could have this right here. Nice push down. So this is what I'm looking for. One of these. It looks like it's going to be Dow right now, but obviously, as you guys have seen and experienced with me, things can change. Okay, so we'll do a little 10-minute chart. All right, I'll share these right now in the school. All right, so this is the one I'm going to focus on. Drop it in there. So let's see. All right. The short looks like it's going to be NQ. As of right now, the buy looks like it would be with Dow Jones, while the sell looks like it will be with NAS. All right, there you guys have that. Sweet. All right. Can you just bottle up the last 10 minutes of sauce? Yeah, I'll clip it. We have no limits except those we impose on ourselves, says Jesus. From being a university biology professor to unloading containers to being a bartender to being a video editor to slowly mastering SMC. Yeah, redefine yourself at whatever pace, whatever frequency, at whatever intensity that you want. That's all you can do. Power's in your hands. Cool. Guys, much love. Great session today. Let's stay dialed in. All right. Stay dialed in. I'm going to pin this right here in if you want to enroll in the syndicate. There's a tons of things that you can do to also get a better price for it. Actually, you know what? I'll do this right now. If you were on this session and you heard me ramble on, and you book a call within the next 24 hours, you will receive the $2,000 credit towards it, because you were on the whole time. You've probably been on since we've gotten started. So only for those that do that in the next 24 hours, the whole credit, I'll apply it, run it up. All right. The goal is not for anyone to skip anything. The reason we have these are so that you can earn your way into it, and so that you know that you're ready for something like this. Throughout the last 10 years trading, what I realized was people don't really know what commitment is. And so we wanted to create something so that people actually have to understand what this is like, set the right expectations, because I just seen so many people that overspend on something that they never actually committed to. And so this is our chance of creating an environment for a lot of amazing free learning, but also for you to decide, okay, am I going to take this serious? And then how willing am I to take this serious? All right. Am I going to go on and just, it's like you're looking for a treasure chest with absolutely no map and just hope that something happens, or do you want to get the whole process accelerated? So with that being said, run it up, and appreciate you guys. So pumped. Love the syndicate so much. Hey, we love you too. Booking one right now. Edwin, going crazy. What's up, Seth? Harshi. Booking right now. Shout out to Filmowit for booking right now. Pierre. Also, I saw it. Yeah, shout out to Pierre for booking. Cool. All right, guys. Good stuff. I'll see you again. We'll be back at it again tomorrow. I'll be in the community. We'll see if we get NQ or Dow to set up for a buy or for the short. And then everything else lining up. I hope we get something. And then, yeah, take advantage of the discounts right now, guys. Peace.